How do we know with the awareness post? How do we know what to ask? So you mentioned, how often do you spend, how much time do you spend on social? And that won't work for everybody. We've got an attorney listening, we've got a doctor listening, we've got a real estate coach listening, we've got a health coach listening. How would they know how to go about even figuring out the first post?
Yeah, so it's awesome because if you're recording a podcast, you can figure out what the topic is of the podcast. So again, like we want people. So Adam, let's just pretend that we're doing this for you. What are you working on right now? What are some of? Do you want more podcast clients? Like what are some things that you want right now?
Okay, more podcast clients.
Okay, cool. And what are your main social media platforms that you post on?
Facebook is the top.
Yeah, I know. I see all your stuff on Facebook. You kill it. Okay, so you're on Facebook and you want some more podcast clients. You're going to use the content that we talk about from this podcast to get more podcast clients. And how are you going to do that? Is by getting the right people raising their hands. So you could say, here's your post. How many of you have a podcast? Or who here has a podcast? Well, that's it. It's just those Facebook, different colored backgrounds with a sentence. That's your post. And now you're getting all these people, the right people, commenting on your post. So the algorithm says, oh, these people really like what Adam's talking about. So with your next post, the elaboration post, they're going to see that post as well because they just engaged with your awareness post. So your next post could be, is going to be your elaboration. And maybe you take, thank goodness for AI, you can take in our transcript and say, what are 4 things that most podcasters are messing up with their podcast production, and drop in our episode. Now you can have a long form piece of content. Maybe it's, 400 words with a picture, or maybe it's just the words on Facebook, or you could even go live and talk about it. So that'll be your elaboration post. On Instagram, it could be a carousel. On LinkedIn, it could be a LinkedIn newsletter. So your elaboration post is saying, okay, now that I know who I'm talking to, I'm going to drop in this transcript from my podcast and educate them, show them how smart I am and how they can trust me because I have the solution to their problem. You're not asking them to buy from you yet. So we've done the awareness, we've done the elaboration. The third post is the community post. How have you overcome this problem? How have you helped a client? Share. How many people have you worked with, Adam? Like hundreds?
Maybe 150, 140.
Okay, so I'm sure you have hundreds of testimonials. So you could take a testimonial and say and just be like, one of the biggest struggles that Katie was facing was trying to remain consistent with her podcast and doing all the editing. It wasn't until she learned that blah, 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 blah. And I loved how we were able to help transform her entire strategy, whatever. You can share a customer's journey, how you overcame it, whatever. But this showcases that, hey, people online, I've helped people like you. It allows them to see themselves through either your shoes or your client's shoes.
Can I interrupt? Because
yeah.
so step 1 or post 1 was the helping
awareness.
People get aware of the problem. Post 2 is to elaborate on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And post 3, you called it a community post. But it sounds a lot like a social proof post where you're getting the customer journey or other type of social proof. Can you go into more detail on the third one and make sure that I don't have it misunderstood?
Yeah. So it can, like I said, it can be a testimonial. It can share how you helped somebody overcome the problem or how you overcame it. So, you could share my just story that I shared at the beginning of today's episode about, remaining consistent was the hardest part of my show. But after I looked at the data, once I had the time, because I wasn't spending hours editing my 30-minute podcast and creating all the assets for it, I was actually able to go in and look at the data. And I found that X, Y, and Z happened. You can share your own story as well. And I've shared stuff about, I recently did a post on social media with Gabriel Landeskog coming back for the Colorado Avalanche and relate it back to business ownership. But I mean, I put someone else's story so that it made it relatable, and people were the right people were reading it and saying, "Oh, I see myself in what Katie's saying here."
Awesome. I love it.
Then
Number
last
4.
but not least, the action
last but
post.
not least. Let's do it.
We haven't told anyone online that there's this amazing podcast episode that they should listen to yet. So this is where you have the opportunity to ask people to leave social media to go one step further with you. Whether it be listen to the podcast, whether it be sign up to work with you, whether it's to get on your email list, join your webinar, whatever. I don't care what it is. But this is where you have the opportunity to say, if you've been struggling with trying to remain consistent and you're not doing these 4 things, I have the opportunity for 3 more clients. Comment, help me below, and I would love to get in touch with you. Or comment podcast below and I'll send you the link to the show.